Welcome to our video on Summer Solstice 2019 astrology chart forecast, including planetary archangels, Raphael from Mercury, Sachiel of Saturn, and Ambriel of Uranus, and also Zodiac angels, planetary ingresses, both natural and hourly houses, station changes, and planetary aspects. Now, for June 21st, that's the day that celebrates the summer solstice, the festival of Litha for Wiccans. It's also known as Midsummer Sabbath for many other pagans. Now, St. John's Day, or St. John the Baptist Day, is a midsummer festival that is celebrated by Christians all over the world, and it occurs on June 24th, because it's celebrated as a midsummer holiday and a festival, celebration, a feast day, but not really exactly on the summer solstice. So because they want it to be the same day every year, they leave it on the 24th so that it doesn't change as the summer solstice changes every year. Usually between the 19th and the 23rd of June, in that sort of, but it's still it's still one of the midsummer Christian holidays. Okay, now Midsummer's Eve occurs the night before the summer solstice, when the shortest night causes dreams to enter into the reality of the longest day on Midsummer's Day. The moon will be trine Venus, and also the moon will be sextile Jupiter. Now Mercury will be conjunct Mars and opposing Saturn, and trine Neptune and opposing Pluto. So it's very active with planetary aspects during the summer solstice festivities. Now, these zodiacal facets will make love blossom, and romantic interludes are going to flourish. Thinking about whether or not such amorous liaisons are logical or sane decisions should cause some consternation, because you don't want to overthink it if you want excitement and infatuation in your life. Now, by the same token, don't be surprised if other people do not agree with your chosen love interest. Because if you're following your heart and you're following your emotions and your gut instincts, it's not going to be logical. Love is not logical. And if it is, it's no fun, right? Now, we will also be providing you with accurate corresponding planetary archangels and zodiac angels to evoke towards making your gatherings very fun and fruitful events, so the festivities can be very celebratory and happy. Now, first, our disclaimer before we get to the chart. Watching this video or reading the document attached is an act of spiritual willpower, and any such action is considered magic. High magic should be used with all mindfulness, since powerful forces of manifestation are unleashed. This is intended exclusively for entertainment purposes. I'm Pastor Rosemary, the Astrology Angel, and I'm a Rosicrucian seer. I'm a biblical astrologer, Christian psychic, and Gnostic mystic. And this is a Readings by Rosemary angelic transmission. Now, the summer solstice festivals of Litha, as we said, or midsummer celebrations, they do occur on June 21st, 2019. We have selected this day for June's astrology chart for 11 a.m. using Greenwich Mean Time for our hourly calculations. Remember that this would be 12 p.m., 12 noon, if you're going to apply daylight savings time. And also, this is going to include planetary aspects, stations, natural houses, and horoscope houses associated with planetary placements, as well as hourly houses, respectively. Now, the sun is going to be in Gemini and the moon in Aquarius. So these are two air signs, okay? So we're going to give you the specifics now about the chart. Okay, now we're going to dim the lights a little bit here for you so that you can see the chart a little bit better. Okay, now we're going to be doing another video for the ingresses and for the full and new moon. That's going to be another video with a different solar and lunar aspect, because this is going to be for the entire month. Whereas what we're going to talk about in this video is the one on top here is going to be with the planetary aspects. This one is going to be, again, for June 21st, the summer solstice. Again, we've chosen 11 a.m. for Greenwich Mean Time and 12 noon for daylight savings time. So this is in case you want to have a festivity, you can know what angels you should call, and you can know what to expect. Remember, lots of chances for a lot of romance. But remember, your love choices in your heart and your emotions are going to conflict with your logical mind. So people say, well, that's not logic. Well, love's not supposed to be logic. Again, if it is, it isn't any fun. All right, now, we're going to begin with Gemini, the sign of Gemini, and at 29 degrees and 48 minutes in the 10th house, which is similar to the sign of Capricorn, of social standing and fame. So we've got the sun here in the sign of Gemini, the twins. And remember, this is the sign of Gemini is associated with the third natural house of transportation and communication. But at that time, at that specific time that we've chosen for this chart, the sun in Gemini will be in the 10th house, okay? And again, that's similar to the sign of Capricorn, the goat, and that has to do with social standing and fame. It's similar to the natural sign of Capricorn, the goat. Now, Gemini is akin, again, to the natural third house of transportation and communication. 1, 2, 3. In a natural chart, Aries is first, Taurus second, Gemini third, and so on. So now remember that the divine tone for the twins, according to Rosicrucian Kabbalah, Christian Kabbalah, is I think. Planetary Archangel Michael visits habitation of Zodiac Angel Ambriel. So the planetary angel, the planetary archangel, is Michael or Michael. Now Michael is also the elemental angel for all of the air, for all of the fire signs. Okay, so for Michael, who's associated with all of the fire signs, you have, because remember he's also the planetary angel of the sun. Fire signs look like this. This is sort of a Merkaba field for the Archangel Michael, or for the Archangel who resides over all the fire signs. And this has to do with solar fire and the sun, because the sun, again, is in Gemini. Okay, now Gemini is an air sign. So we're going to get to that in a minute here. Now, Ambriel. Ambriel is the zodiac angel that is associated with the sign of Gemini, the twins. So we have sun in Gemini. Again, at 29 degrees, 48 minutes. Also, we have the moon in Aquarius. Moon in Aquarius at 16 degrees, okay, and 35 minutes in the 5th house, which is similar to the sign of Leo, of children and creativity. Aquarius is analogous to the natural 11th house of friends and reputation. And the water bearer's divine tone is I know. Planetary Archangel Gabriel visits dwelling of Zodiac Angel Cambriel. So we have Cambriel being the Zodiac Angel of the sign of Aquarius here, which has the 11th position in a natural chart. And we have here the moon, which is the planetary archangel, is Gabriel. Gabriel is also the elemental archangel over all of the water signs. Okay, so again, sun in Aquarius. Now, even though Aquarius is the water bearer, it is an air sign. It is fixed air. This is the Merkaba field for the Archangel Gabriel, who is the planetary archangel of the moon, and also of the water sign. This is a water Merkaba field for the archangel who resides over all the water signs, which is Gabriel, the Archangel Gabriel. Okay, so this is the moon in Aquarius. All right, now Mercury. Yeah, we're going to bring this in a little closer for you so you can see it a little bit better. Okay? All right, so we have Mercury. We have the planet Mercury in the sign of Cancer, the crab. We have Mercury in the sign of Cancer at 24 degrees 46 minutes in the 11th house, which is similar to the sign of Aquarius, again, of friends and reputation. Now, Cancer is analogous to the natural 4th house of hearth, home, and family. Okay? And the crab's divine tone for Cancer the crab is I feel. I feel. It's about feelings. And planetary archangel Raphael visits abode of Zodiac Angel Muriel. So Muriel is the Zodiac Angel for Cancer, and the archangel for the planet Mercury is Raphael. So Mercury, Raphael. Raphael is also associated with the Atlantean god Thoth. He's the Egyptian god Thoth as well. And also Raphael is associated with Mercury, it's why associated with the planet Mercury of Rome, and Hermes Trismegistus of Greece, and St. Paul in the modern Orthodox Christian or Catholic pantheon of theology. Okay, so that's also the Archangel Raphael. It's the same energy, the same being. This is the Merkaba field for the Archangel Raphael, who is associated with the planet Mercury, and this is the Merkaba field of the Archangel. That's the elemental archangel that presides over all of the air signs. Okay, all of the air signs. Okay, and these are six-sided figures. They're hexagons and hexagrams, and therefore that has to do with the celestial coordinates, not the earthly coordinates, and that makes a difference because they're in different placements. Okay, and if you go to see some of some of our other videos of regarding the year of the pig or the boar, which is 2019, February 2019 it began. We have video for each sign on that, and if you want to go ahead and look at that, it explains all about the celestial coordinates of the archangels, how to use them, and the terrestrial coordinates of the elemental archangels, because they're placed differently on the earth or in the heavens. Okay, the coordinates are going to be placed differently. All right, now we're going to now move on to the planet Venus. The planet Venus in Gemini, in the sign of Gemini, there, also alongside here of the sun. So we have Venus in Gemini at 15 degrees 6 minutes in 9th house, which is similar to the sign of Sagittarius of life path meaning. Gemini is akin to the natural 3rd house. Again, the natural, 3rd house of transportation and communication. And the twins, Gemini the twins' divine tone is I think. Gemini is a very intelligent sign, but a creative intelligence and a creative imagination, creative intelligence. And the planetary archangel Anael of Venus visits habitation of zodiac angel Ambriel of the sign of Gemini, the twins. Next we're going to move into Mars. The planet Mars in the sign of Cancer at 23 degrees 18 minutes in 11th house, which is similar to the sign of Aquarius of friends and reputation. Cancer is analogous to the natural 4th house of hearth, home, and family. So in a natural chart, 1, 2, 3, 4, with Cancer the crab being the 4th house in a natural chart, again, hearth, home, and family. And the crab's divine tone for Cancer the crab is I feel. Okay, I feel. Planetary Seraphim Samael of Mars here is going to visit the dwelling of zodiac angel Muriel of the sign of Cancer, the crab. Now we're going to go now into the planet Jupiter is going to be retrograde in Sagittarius, the sign of Sagittarius the Archer. Again, Jupiter retrograde in Sagittarius the Archer at 18 degrees 7 minutes in the 4th house, again, which is similar to the sign of Cancer of hearth, home, and family. Sagittarius is akin to the natural 9th house of life path meaning, because it is the 9th placement, 9, 10, 11, 12 for Pisces. See, so you have, it's a natural 9th house in a natural chart, and the association there is life path meaning, thinking about what your life means, what this means for you. And the Archer's divine tone is I perceive. I perceive. Planetary archangel Sachiel of Jupiter, remember Jupiter retrograde, visits abode of zodiac angel Adnakhiel of the sign of Sagittarius the Archer. So remember that this is a day when Jupiter is going to be retrograde, so you want to maybe revisit some of the issues regarding the life path meaning. And this is, again, during this specific hour. We're not only doing natural placements, but also the hourly placement. This is a specific hour, okay? And because if you change the hour, sometimes even less than that, you can change the house generally associated. But the natural house is associated with the sign, okay? So just keep that in mind if you're going to have some kind of festivity or something to that effect. And you know, we can work out those kinds of things for you if you need. A lot of people have been asking us to do charts for their weddings and for their events and for their festivals and celebrations. And so, we're happy to do that. Just call our office and give our secretary Francine a call, and she'll help you set that up. Now, Saturn, the planet Saturn here, planet Saturn retrograde in the sign of Scorpio. Excuse me. Saturn retrograde in the sign of Capricorn. In the sign of Capricorn. That's Saturn retrograde in the sign of Capricorn, the goat, at 18 degrees 31 minutes in 4th house, which is similar to the sign of Cancer, of hearth, home, and family. Capricorn is analogous to the natural 10th house of social standing and fame. The natural 10th house of social standing and fame. And the goat's divine tone is I use. They know how to utilize things properly. Planetary Archangel Cassiel visits habitation of Zodiac Angel Anael of Capricorn. So we have the Planetary Archangel Cassiel, the planet Saturn, visiting the habitation of Zodiac Angel Anael of the sign of Capricorn. Saturn retrograde in Capricorn is going to make you revisit some of these issues about where you stand in the community, your popularity, and also in the specific hour having to do with how your family, your hearth, home, and family, what kind of house you have, what kind of family you have, how that all fits into your social standing and your fame. Okay, so that's going to be for that retrograde station change. Now, the planet Uranus is going to be in the sign of Taurus, the bull. Again, here we have Uranus in Taurus at 5 degrees, 33 minutes in 8th house, which is similar to the sign of Scorpio, of birth, sex, death, and debt. Taurus is akin to, Taurus the bull, akin to the natural 2nd house of money and possessions. So it's all about the material, money, and possessions. And the bull's divine tone is I have. What a person has is associated. They'll always be saying, what do you have? But what do you have? If there's a strong Taurus aspect in their chart, if they have a rising sign, the sun, moon, or a rising sign, or some of the very major planets, they might really be focused. If their Saturn's in Taurus, they'll really be interested in what people have and the legalities thereof. So that's the kind of way that works out. Now, again, this is the bull's divine tone, I have. Planetary Archangel Ariel, A-U-R-I-E-L, with an A-U-R-I-E-L, who is the planetary archangel of Uranus, visits dwelling of Zodiac Angel Asmodel. Asmodel is for Taurus, the bull. Okay. Now for Neptune in Pisces, here, Neptune in the sign of Pisces, and Neptune is the 2nd ruler of Pisces, so it's a especially sort of a strong placement. And Neptune is in Pisces at that time on that day of 18 degrees 43 minutes in 6th house, which is similar to the sign of Virgo, the Virgin, of habits and health, your daily routines, your health, that kind of thing. Now Pisces is analogous to the natural 12th house of spirituality, and the fish's divine tone is I believe. People are always saying, what do you believe? Do you believe in this? Do you believe in that? Because we're leaving the sign of Pisces for this eon, and we're going into the sign of Aquarius. When I did some calculations, it's my position that we entered formally the age of Aquarius on May 13th, 1917, on the Blessed Mother's, Mary's, the Holy Mother Mary's first appearance to the 3 children of Fatima. Okay, for Lucia and her siblings, and Sister Lucia, wrote those down. She wrote those Fatima apparitions down. So we have some videos about that. You might want to go ahead and look at our May 13th, 1917 video. It's about that. It talks about that being us entering into the age of Aquarius, because the moon was in the 7th house and Jupiter was aligned with Mars. To quote the group who made the song popular, The Fifth Dimension. Now, okay, so they're the ones who perform that song. Okay, so we have some videos about that, so you might want to look that up. Now we're going out of I believe, we're going out of what we believe in into what we know. So in the age of Aquarius, what we know is going to be more important than what we believe. And it's also in the 11th house, the Aquarius, the natural 11th house, which is your reputation and your friends. So the kind of friends you have, not just how many, but the kind of friends, the quality, not just the quantity, but the quality of your friends. And also your reputation, and the kind of reputation that you feel good about, and that you can really get behind, and as long as you feel good about it, that's all that's required. And that will be more important as we get more and more into the age of Aquarius. Now remember, Jesus Christ was the Christ, or the Messiah, of the age of Pisces. Now in the age of Aquarius, the Christ is Maitreya, Lord Maitreya. Now that doesn't mean that Jesus is not going to be around. Jesus, he told us in Luke chapter 22 to follow the man who holds the jug of water into his house. See, get it? Into his house. And that's Aquarius, the water bearer, who holds the jug of water. Okay, so so understand, and outpours it onto the earth as necessary. The healing waters. Okay, the healing waters, the people, and to make the deserts flourish, all that kind of thing. So Jesus and Maitreya are already working together with all the other ascended masters. Master Jesus and Lord Maitreya are already working together to heal our planet and teach people how to live a better life. So they're working together, they're not enemies. All right. Okay, so now the planetary archangel Asariel visits, that's from Neptune, Asariel from Neptune, that's the archangel, the planetary archangel, visits the abode of Zodiac angel Ambriel for Pisces, okay? That's the Zodiac angel for Pisces. Now Neptune begins a retrograde transit on this day at 2:36 p.m. on June 21st, 2019, okay? Now Pluto retrograde in Capricorn at 22 degrees. See Pluto here alongside Saturn, both of them retrograde, and even the South Node being retrograde. We'll get to that in a minute. But Pluto retrograde in Capricorn at 22 degrees, 26 minutes in 5th house, which is similar to the sign of Leo, the lion, of children and creativity, and your creative projects and your children's creative projects. That's the hourly. Now, Capricorn is analogous to the natural 10th house. That's the sign that, the natural 10th house of social standing and fame. So Capricorn, social standing and fame. And that Capricorn, the goat's divine tone again, is I use, or I utilize. All right, now planetary archangel Azrael visits habitation of Zodiac angel Anael. So Capricorn, Anael is the Zodiac angel, and for Pluto it is Azrael. Remember, it's going to be retrograde, so therefore there's going to be a sort of a revisiting of your creative projects and how you feel, what kind of parent you are, what kind of, I'm thinking about what kind of grandmother am I, what kind of mother am I, what kind of grandmother am I, am I up to snuff, or not, and the creativity are my creative projects. We have to revisit and make sure things are good, and that we're doing well, and that we're going to hold our head up for the way we've handled our lives. And Capricorn again is analogous to the natural 10th house of social standing and fame, and therefore there's going to be some revisiting of what is the social standing, what is your popularity. But remember, you gotta make sure that in this age of Aquarius, it's not just about what you believe, but it's about what you know, and maybe who you know, but more about what you know. Because knowledge is power, information is power. If it's good information, and if it's sound information that you would care to stand under. They say that if to builders, my husband's a builder, but they say that builders, if if they can stand under something they built and have their family live there and feel good, then that's the kind of work you should do for everything. And that goes for everything that we do, no matter whether, I like to play music, whether it's music, or whether it's your family and your kids, or whether it's, depending on what it is, your creative projects, your videos, whatever you're doing, want to make sure that you're doing it to your very best. It's something you would feel comfortable to stand under and have those you love stand under. Okay? Now, North Node retrograde here, North Node retrograde, called True Node also, in Cancer at 18 degrees, 29 minutes in 10th house, which is similar to the sign of Capricorn, of social standing and fame. Cancer's divine tone, I feel. Planetary Archangel Gabriel rules over Luna, and due to this aspect, associates with the sign of Cancer, the crab, which is ruled by the moon. So remember, this is a Merkaba field for Archangel Gabriel, planetary for the lunar archangel energy. Okay, and it's also for the sign of Cancer because it's a water sign. It's cardinal water, fire of water. Okay, Cancer, the crab. Now, okay, so remember, planetary archangel Gabriel rules over Luna, and due to this aspect, associates with the sign of Cancer, the crab, which is ruled by the moon, ruled by Gabriel. In this retrograde station, there is often nostalgic or unresolved feelings which might need to be revisited for further healing. Cancer, the crab, is a nurturing sign. So make sure to nurture those qualities in yourself that you wish to cultivate for your health and for your happiness, while ignoring attributes in yourself that do not give you what you truly want in life. Ignore things you don't want. If you don't like it, ignore it. Because if you pay attention to it, it's just going to make it get worse. Okay? So you want to feed energy. You want to think about if you want to, focus on things. Focus on, how am I healing today? How am I doing well today? Not what's bad today, or where is something bad? Where is something good? Where is something healthy in me? Where is something healthy in you? That kind of thing. Okay, and that will help. Now we chose 11 a.m. for hourly house calculations, 12 p.m. noon if applying daylight savings time, which reveal 10th house qualities of social standing and fame, akin to the sign of Capricorn, the goat, for the North Node. Again, we have the North Node here, retrograde. Okay, now that's going to be. The North Node is again in the sign of Cancer, and for the South Node, it's in the sign of Capricorn, the goat. Now, the reason this might sound confusing is because of this, because of the hourly. Okay, the North Node is the True Node is in Cancer, and the South Node is in Capricorn, because they're opposite. They're directly opposite each other on the astrological wheel. Okay, they're retrograde, and they're opposite each other, and it's always like that. Okay, now what you need to understand is that the North Node, because of the 10th house, because we chose 11 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, or 12 noon daylight saving time, because we chose that hour, it's going to reveal the 10th house qualities of social standing and fame, which is analogous to the natural 10th house of Capricorn. So that might sound confusing. Just because that hour, if we chose another hour, then it wouldn't be confusing, because it wouldn't be Capricorn, which is where the South Node is. Okay, so just to clear that up. Okay, so social standing and fame akin to Capricorn, the goat. And again, the North Node is going to be in that 10th house placement. What that's going to do, that's going to amplify. It's going to amplify the South Node in Capricorn retrograde, and we're going to get to that here about what that means in a moment here. Now, this is going to place the South Node, which is in Capricorn, generally speaking, right now, retrograde. It's going to place the South Node in the fourth house. Okay, the North Node in the hourly placement, the 10th house, that's similar to Capricorn, and the South Node is because of this hourly placement, it would be different if we chose a different hour. It's going to be placed in the 4th house, which is analogous to the sign of Cancer, the crab, of hearth, home, and family. So you see, just really, when I did these calculations, I didn't even realize that was going to be the case. but it just turned out that way. So don't let that confuse you, okay? Now, therefore, this hourly placement is exactly the opposite of the larger transit north and south node placements of the north node in Cancer and south node in Capricorn, making it imperative for individuals to attempt to put more emphasis on practical usage of their own feelings or the feelings of others for purposes of socioeconomic climbing up the ladder of success towards fame and notoriety, because, again, Capricorn the goat's all about that social climbing, that sure-footed goat that climbs up like that, okay? For this specific time period, due to this hourly calculation, it will balance out nicely with these larger current north and south node placements. Now, in other words, the hourly placements of north node in Capricorn and south node in Cancer will, for this specific time period, bring pragmatism to the forefront over emotive behavior, which is the opposite of the current larger transit of north node in Cancer and south node in Capricorn, where usually at this present larger transit, emotions have the upper hand over what would be more down-to-earth activities. So usually, if you weren't using, you know, this specific hour, then perhaps the emotions would override. That's when we talked about logic and your feelings. This is where this is going to come in too. Okay, a lot of it. Some of these other planetary aspects are causing it too, which we'll get to in a moment here. But there's a lot of what is the logical thing, what is wishful thinking, what is emotional thinking, what is emotional intelligence, what is intelligence of the heart, intellectus sinus, that kind of thing. Okay, now the south node placement is in the sign of Capricorn, the goat again, whose divine tone is I use. The north node, being Cancer the crab, has a divine tone of I feel, I feel. The north node represents an individual's path in this current incarnation, whereas the south node corresponds to one's past incarnations. Now, the astrological formula for Capricorn the goat south node past life with the divine tone of I use, and Cancer the crab north or true node present incarnation with the divine tone of I feel, is that a person who knows how to utilize people and creatures, both flora and fauna, for either personal or organizational gain, or the gain of your group or something, or your organization, begin to understand and sympathize with others when considering relationships between self and not self. This comprehension explains what a monad is in the teachings of Kabbalah. Representing the monad, its concept is explained by Dion Fortune, authoress of The Mystical Kabbalah with a Q, and it's a book she wrote, which was first published in England in 1935, and then reprinted by Samuel Weiser, Inc. in 1984. She explains in her book that, quote, God is pressure, unquote, when referring to the inner circle. It's just like an astrology chart. When referring to the inner circle of the monad coming into balance with the outer peripheral circle. So you have an inner circle. It's kind of like the image, the icon, the symbol for the sun, which is, you know, it's a monad symbol with a dot in the center and something around. That's the monad, okay? The self and not self. Self and not self. And in reality, it's all self, but that's the key, and that's the key and the trick to this. Now, a monad diagram, again, it's just simply a peripheral outer circle with a small inner circle drawn in the center of it. Now, one of the primary goals of the science of Kabbalah is to equalize the pressure within what is considered self with pressures coming in towards the self from that which is perceived as not self. Okay? So that's a very basic Kabbalistic teaching, whether it's Kabbalah with a K, Kabbalist with a C, or Kabbalah with a Q, no matter how you're spelling it, still, it's all about how much pressure is being put on me and how much pressure am I putting out. And it's all about making that balance into something that is what? Comfortable, and can make people, you know, heal and maybe at one point get into, as technology progresses, into very, very long lifespans and great healings and great solving of problems, and also eventually an immortality that many of our space brothers have achieved. And part of the reason they've achieved that is because this is something that they told me, is that the space brothers told me that of which Lord Maitreya and Master Jesus are space brothers, but there's also other ones that like Serapis Bey and Kuan Yin, these kinds of ascended masters. Now, they said that when they stay in their ships because they don't age. When they come down to a planet or come down to something like that, or an asteroid or a moon, the aging process begins. It's a very important thing to remember. They told me that several years ago, and I mentioned it in some of my other videos and some of my other presentations, but it's very important to understand that. Okay? Now, that's all about, again, the pressure within, without. Just like when you scuba dive and that kind of a thing. So, if God seems to not exist, it's because the Creator only bestows, only gives. And in the physical world, we have no reference, we have no vessels with which to sense or comprehend or sense bestowal of a spiritual nature. We sense bestowal when you give us food, or we give us money, or you give us, a lovely song to hear, or a lovely picture to see, but or a lovely texture to feel. But if it's a spiritual vessel, we don't really have it unless we begin to build that, and that's what Christ means when he says to build your treasures in heaven, not here on the earth, because that's the only vessel that really is immortal, the spiritual vessel that senses the spiritual bestowal of the Creator, okay? Which is, again, very different than any of our physical vessels, okay? And then to teach others how to do that is how you turn that into bestowal yourself. So if you teach others how to sense the bestowal from the Creator, the spiritual bestowal, which is immortality, then you're giving, you're sharing, you're giving, you're being given to, and you and other people in a group, for example, studying Kabbalah, form a bigger vessel that can be given to, more can be given. Only one person can only acquire so much, but a group of people can acquire more. Okay, so that's why sharing and being in friendly groups is very important. It's very important during this time, especially in the age of Aquarius. Now, again, if you want to understand, just receive this kind of information, read the Mystical Kabbalah, or Kabbalah with a Q, by Dion Fortune, and also it's very important to read the Zohar. And there are many important teachers on the internet, on YouTube, and on the internet who teach Kabbalah. There's esoteric Kabbalah and practical Kabbalah, and there's many different, and mystical Kabbalah. There's many forms of Kabbalah. But you want to go ahead and study the one that you like the most. And I like to study all of them, really, and I have studied all of them, and I use all of them. I use the practical, and I use the mystical, and I use the esoteric, and all of the different methods of Kabbalah which I've studied. Okay, because it really is the religion of the age of Aquarius, because it's based on science. It's scientific. Okay, now planetary aspects for the astrology chart for June 21st, 2019, the summer solstice at 11 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, or 12 p.m. noon for daylight savings time. We're going to have the moon is going to be trine Venus. So the moon in Aquarius here, trine Venus in Gemini. Moon sextile Jupiter. The moon is going to be on the green line here. The moon in Aquarius sextile Jupiter retrograde in Sagittarius. Now Mercury will be conjunct Mars. So Mercury and Mars see conjunct here in the same placement in the sign of Cancer, the crab. The moon is going to be sextile Jupiter again, and the Mercury conjunct Mars, but Mercury is also going to be opposing Saturn. So Mercury here in Cancer is going to be on the dark red line opposing Saturn, which is retrograde in Capricorn. And Mercury is also going to be trine Jupiter. So we're going to have Mercury on a blue line, Mercury in Cancer on the blue line is going to be trine Neptune. I said Jupiter. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Let me just say that again. Mercury opposing Saturn on the red line. Mercury in here opposing Saturn. Mercury in Cancer opposing Saturn in Capricorn. Okay, and that's on the dark red line. And Mercury trine Neptune. Excuse me, not Jupiter. Mercury trine Neptune. So Mercury is going to be trine Neptune. So Mercury in Cancer, trine Neptune in Pisces on the blue line is the trine. Now Mercury opposing Pluto. So on the dark red line, Mercury opposing Pluto in Capricorn. Mercury Cancer opposing Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, where the south node is also retrograde. And Venus is going to be trine the moon. Venus trine the moon. Venus, and then on the blue line, Venus in Gemini trine the moon in Aquarius on the blue line there. All right. Now, Venus is also going to be opposing Jupiter. Venus on the red line in Gemini opposing Jupiter in Sagittarius. Venus will be square Neptune. So Venus in Gemini and square Neptune on the red line, the lighter red line, Neptune in Pisces, in the sign of Pisces. Okay, so Venus square Neptune in Pisces. Okay, now Mars conjunct Mercury. Mercury and Mars here in the sign of Cancer. Mars opposing Saturn. So Mars in Cancer opposing Saturn in Capricorn. And some of these lines are a little, some of them ran over each other, but actually the ones that kind of run over each other, because I'm going to put this chart on Readings by Rosemary on Facebook, and so the really close aspects are going to be Mercury opposing Saturn, trine Neptune opposing Pluto, and Mars opposing Saturn, trine Neptune, and opposing Pluto. The exact same aspects there. They're just 1 degree apart. So where they originate. So therefore, some of these lines kind of run over each other a little bit. Just those specific ones. I did my best so that you could see it, but it is very, very fine point that you need. Okay, so Mars conjunct Mercury, Mars opposing Saturn. We just showed you Mars trine Neptune. So Mars on the blue line trine Neptune, Mars in Cancer trine Neptune in Pisces. Mars opposing Pluto, Mars in Cancer, Mars in Cancer opposing Pluto retrograde in Capricorn on the dark red line. So now Jupiter is going to be sextile the moon. Jupiter in Sagittarius retrograde sextile the moon on this green line in Aquarius. Jupiter opposing Venus. So we have Jupiter retrograde in Sagittarius on the dark red line opposing Venus in Gemini. Jupiter retrograde. Jupiter retrograde square Neptune. So Jupiter retrograde in Sagittarius on the light red line square Neptune in Pisces. And Neptune is direct at this time. Okay, now we have also Saturn opposing Mercury. We have Saturn retrograde in Capricorn opposing, in the dark red line, Mercury in Cancer. And we have Saturn opposing Mars. We have Saturn retrograde in Capricorn and the dark red line opposing Mars. Mars in Cancer. These are those real close aspects with Mercury. Mars and Mercury, very close aspects this month, on this day at this time. Okay, Saturn sextile Neptune. So Saturn retrograde in Capricorn on the green line, sextile Neptune in the sign of Pisces on the green line. And Saturn conjunct Pluto. We have Saturn retrograde in Capricorn and Pluto retrograde in Capricorn in the same sign there. So that's the conjunct aspect. Now Neptune is going to be trine Mercury. So Neptune in Pisces on the blue line, trine Mercury in Cancer. And Neptune square Venus, Neptune in Pisces on the light red line, square Venus in Gemini. Venus in Gemini. Now Neptune trine Mars. Neptune in Pisces. On the blue line, trine Mars in Cancer. Okay? And Neptune square Jupiter. So Neptune in Pisces on the light red line square Jupiter retrograde in Sagittarius. Okay? And Neptune sextile Saturn. So Neptune on the green line, sextile Saturn in Capricorn retrograde. Saturn in Capricorn retrograde, again on that green line, sextile Neptune in Pisces. And Neptune sextile Pluto. So we have Neptune in Pisces on the green line, sextile Pluto. These two are very close together, but there's a little daylight between those two lines. That Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. Okay. Now Pluto is opposing Mercury. Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, and then the dark red line opposing Mercury in Cancer. Pluto opposing Mars. Pluto retrograde is in Capricorn on the dark red line, opposing Mars in Cancer. And Pluto conjunct Saturn. Pluto retrograde, Saturn retrograde in Capricorn. And also Pluto sextile Neptune. We have Pluto retrograde on the green line sextile sextile right here, Neptune, a green line sextile. There's two lines that are very close together, but there is some daylight. If you look on Facebook on Readings by Rosemary, you can see. I'm going to put it up there for you. And that's Pluto sextile Neptune in Pisces. So you see a little bit of daylight in between those aspects. There's about a little more than 1 degree apart that you can see it a little bit better. Now, now regarding the progression of the equinoxes that people often talk about, since we're talking about it, so we're going from Pisces into Aquarius, and it's basically I believe it's a little less than 2,600 years. I think it's 25100 something. It's a little bit more than 25, a little bit less than 26. Okay, so that's just we are moving again. It's my contention that it's happened on May 13th of 1917 when the Holy Mother appeared and began the apparitions, which culminated in the miracle of the sun. Oh, actually, I have a video on the miracle of the sun as well. Now, okay, which you might want to look up about the Fatima apparitions. Okay, of Lucia, Jacinta, and Francisco. Okay, now, again, regarding the progression of the equinoxes debate, seasonal considerations must always be taken into consideration due to environmental conditions, and therefore current Western astrological calculations and Earth-centric systems are just as accurate and viable as solar-centric systems. Also, I have some books that I've been reading that I've had for quite a while where Agrippa goes into that and about the beginning of Christianity and how it affected astrology. So I'll be giving you more information on that. It's more than just the seasonal. It also has to do with when Christ, Jesus came upon Christianity and that was established. So it has to do with that as well, and Christian astrology, which is an actual. Agrippa talks a lot about that, and and also the Picatrix. The Picatrix is a work that I really have enjoyed studying recently. That's that has a lot of information about that you might want to look at if you want to get into that debate. Again, in Agrippa's work. Okay. Now, having charts done in Western, Vedic, and Chinese astrology gives several aspects for us to study God's great clocks. If you want to look at something, you want to look at it from all kinds of different angles. If you want to see something that's not just one-dimensional, you get a better representation if you can see it from all its different angles. All right. Information found in this document is based on the oral tradition known as Kabbalah, taught to me by Rosicrucian clergy when I was but a young girl, the facts of which I have committed to memory. Thank you for joining us, and please join us again.